back here for the start of the third quarter. And as we welcome you back, we begin our second half. So far, not a tightly contested game, guys, but, you know, anything can happen.
For the Pacers, they have really struggled against George.
13 points, and he's put one three-pointer on the board.
Yeah, he's got to take his time behind the arc.
A lot of positive, Steve, for the Pacers last year and how they started the season. And, you know, Clark, you saw this firsthand every night, dominating early. But they did have a falling off point.
Yeah, after the All-Star break, they went from looking unbeatable to looking like just another team. But they were able to gather themselves just in time and make a deep playoff run.
Well, we've got a moment. Let's set the floor. Brought to you by Gatorade, all fueled up for the second half. On the floor for Portland, they've got Lewis. Terrence Ross is out there with Nate Robinson. Then there's Maurice Spates. And it's Ontic in at the 5.
You know, with the Pacers, although they didn't end the regular season as they might have wanted to, they were still able to rest a number of players down the stretch and prepare for their playoff run, which ended up with the conference finals again.
Out of bounds, Portland takes possession. A different look now for Portland. And here in the second half of play, we're just over a minute in. And Marshall kicks to George. There's the dish to Marshall. Outside for George. Pass to Oladipo. Portland no good that time either.
And they've missed the first 3 shots of the third quarter. Well, the Pacers were running away with the Eastern Conference last year, and I think they took their foot off the gas pedal a little bit in the second half of the year. They struggled at times, made some moves, but ultimately righted the ship and made a deep playoff run. Well, we've seen that more than a few times, an easy bucket in the lane.
Yeah, the interior defense simply has been lifeless.
The pass to George. Just 5 to shoot. Puts one up from 19. And the jumper falls for him. George has got 15 points.
And they get one to go now after missing their first 3 shots. Maybe this will kick them into gear.
From 13, Sullinger, no good.
Still a bit chilly from the field at the start of this third quarter. 1 of 4 so far.
A little over 2.5 minutes off the clock in this final half of play. Henderson against Oladipo. The shot's good on the assist by George. George has got his 4th assist in this one. Pacers trail by 16. Guys, they're looking for a way to score here.
Yeah, they've had a tough time getting the lid off the basket so far.
Sullinger with a screen for Butler. Parker with it. George picks him up. 3-pointer, Butler. Rebound by the Trailblazers. Pekovic has got his 7th rebound here tonight. Inside. George passes to Marshall. Feeds to Oladipo. Looking for Pekovic. He gets it there. A rebound by Gasol. Gasol's got 8 rebounds in this game. Parker kicks to Butler. At the elbow, it's Gasol. Kicks it to Henderson. Dishes it to Parker. Sullinger inside. Fareed defending. Butler. Out of bounds. Portland takes possession. Now, here's Marshall. 6 points for him. He feeds it to Oladipo. Pass to Marshall. Oladipo dishes to George. The offensive rebound. Marshall passes to Oladipo. He kicks it to George. It's the outside fadeaway. George has got 4 points this quarter.
Not what they drew up, but they'll take the 2 points. Nikola Pekovic, prior to last season, signed a 5-year, $60 million extension. And, he missed a month with a right ankle issue. But that aside, he went about showing that he was worth every penny.
Just 5 to shoot. The shot by Butler, nobody around. An absolute pound from three-point range.
Man, he's got a tremendous ability to knock it down from deep. I mean, that's a big-time triple.
Well, it gets harder and harder the deeper you go out there. So, I mean, he's got great touch from that kind of range. That's impressive.
Here's Pekovic.
Obvious foul.
Yeah, he took a hit right there and earned those free throws.
And a moment here to take a look at the scoring breakdown for the Trailblazers.
Well, the great passing we saw in the first half has carried right over into the second.
Well, it's been a super performance from beyond the arc, too. I mean, they've been raining in those threes.
And so Pekovic nails both of them. Pacers trailed by 17. And Mills kicks to Neal. Passes it to Mills. They set the pick. Takes the three. Now the feed to Neal. And it's going to be out of bounds. The Trailblazers will take it. Now let's go to Doris Burke. Doris.
Well, Kevin, Jared Solinger has developed some very thick skin during his time in the league. Solinger said, because I had Satch Solinger as a coach. So I learned early that it's not how loud he's saying it, it's what he's saying. I was blessed to have an angry coach. It's very hard to get into Jared's head, guys.
It is indeed. Thank you, Doris. And that one's good. Indiana's gone 1 of 4 in three-point shots here in the third. And Mills kicks to Anderson. He dishes it to Seraphin. 6 to shoot. And here's Neal outside. And out of bounds as the Trailblazers gain possession. Portland leading by 19 points. Here is Robinson. Now the dish to Spates. Ross with a wide open look. Trains the three-pointer. Ross has got 12.
Everything's falling now, and this lead continues to increase.
Yeah, it's just way too hard to keep up with a scoring pace like this. I mean, and that's why the defense is having a tough time.
To the right side. Pass to Bonner. Just 5 on the clock. There's Neal with the three. And once again off the mark by Indiana.
Boy, they've really dominated on the glass, and of course they've done a lot of good things here tonight, but the rebounds have played a major factor.
Hey, Steve, you know rebounding always one of the key barometers in determining the victor.
And it's out of bounds as the Portland Trailblazers retain possession.
Now that pass had just a little bit too much heat on it for him to make a clean steal.
Yeah, I think it would have been a tough catch for either of them.
Porter's checked in for Gary Neal. No good from Ross. And for the Pacers, they're shooting at 36%. They really seem out of sync offensively. Here's Mills, guarded by Robinson. And here's Mills, looking for his first basket still in this one. Here's Bonner. Indiana again missing. Trailblazers leading by 22.
You know, not a lot of teams from the East do well against the West, but it should be no surprise that the Pacers were one of those teams last year.
Lewis misses. Indiana's gotten 1 of 6 three-pointers to drop since coming out of the locker room at halftime. Porter, a screen on Robinson. The pass to Porter. Tries to snap the cold streak. Can't hit. And it's Portland the other way.
Pacers with 18 wins and 12 losses against the West last year. As you said, no surprise, as their defense can let them compete against anybody.
Ross on the wing. Fires from deep. It's rebounded by Seraphin. Seraphin's got his 3rd rebound on the night. Here's Mills, guarded by Robinson. To the left side wing. Baseline try. And that one comes up a bit short. Talking about the Pacers in the Western Conference, only the Heat had more wins against the West than the Pacers did last year.
Well, a lot of where you end up in the East has to do with how you play against the Western Conference teams, at least for the top teams, and the Pacers wouldn't have gotten that #1 seed in the East without doing as well as they did out West.
Here's Hontic. Second shot opportunity. Ross with it. 12 points for him. Here's Spates. The persistence pays off as they finally hit a shot.